Hello everyone, Storm 101 here. Today we'll be having a tropics update today. We got the remains of Odette up across parts of the northern Atlantic. We also got Tropical Depression Peter, Tropical Depression Rose, and also Invest98L as well. These are areas we need to monitor here, especially for Invest98L here. If we continue to move to the west here, that may actually become a hurricane in the next few days here. But we're going to get started with the infrared satellite imagery across the Atlantic, and then again we have the remains of Odette. That's going to stay in the northern Atlantic. I'm not really worried about that system as of right now. It's going to stay mainly as a fish storm. Meanwhile, we got Tropical Depression Peter. That's going to continue to move up to the north. May die out somewhere to the south of Bermuda. That may just be a fish storm as well. And then you got Tropical Depression Rose, which should make an eastward turn here, but that's also expected to be staying as a fish storm as well. One that may not be a fish storm, or could be, there's still uncertainties, but we got MS98L, and this thing here has a green light for intensification here. There's not much of any wind shear, there's not a whole lot of dry air with Invest98L, so it'll be intensifying here as it continues to move at least towards to the northwest here. There's some uncertainties when you kind of get into parts of the northern Western Antilles, Puerto Rico, and Dominican Republic and Haiti area. Will it turn to the north, or will it continue to move to the northwest? That's still a big question here, what we have with Invest98L. So let's go ahead and check out the National Hurricane Center outlook here. So then again, got Tropical Depression Peter, and this is their latest outlook here. And then again, it's going to continue to move up to the north, but it should die out somewhere just to the south of Bermuda. Not too big of a deal there. Here's Tropical Depression Rose, be taking an eastward turn out there. Should die out there. Then you got the remains of Odette, which currently has a 50% chance of developing in the next 5 days, or at least I should say redeveloping, in other words there. But right now, it's just going to be sticking around that area for a while there, or at least over the next several days there. So that's probably going to be on the radar over the next several updates will be Odette. Meanwhile, Rose and Peter, maybe not so much. But then you got MS98L, which is getting better organized as continuing to move to the west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And that can definitely may pose a threat to the Western Antilles there. It may miss just to the north, but let's check out some of the weather models there first. So here's a closer look here, and you can see here, looks like a pretty good storm, or tropical wave I should say, out there. And if we check out the tracks on the hurricane models, currently has no threat to any land, but here's the Western Antilles out there as well, just off to the screen there. And you can see here, the models having it kind of a northern turn a little bit earlier than some of the other models show. Let me show you some of the other ones. And here's the GFS ensembles. You do see here, you do have some of those members kind of continue to move up to the northwest for a certain period of time. You actually got a little cluster continue to move to the northwest. Meanwhile, the majority has a turn to the north here. And here's Bermuda. And Bermuda needs to watch the system as well. But also check out the mean here for the pressure. You're talking about a possibility for a hurricane with this storm. With a mean pressure down to 980 millibars, and mean as low as 979 millibars by day 10. So this is definitely a system we need to monitor here as well. This may become a tropical depression by tomorrow, or maybe even a tropical storm as well. So this is definitely a system we need to watch here as well here over the next several days here. I believe the next name is Sam here. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I believe that's the next name here. But definitely a system we need to watch here. And here's the intensity guidance from the hurricane model. So you can see here, there's a strong agreement that this could be a hurricane in the next few days here. You got a majority in the models in a hurricane stream, and only a couple in the major hurricane streams. So this is definitely a system we need to monitor here. And if we check out the GFS model here, so far it's been a good model here, but look at the main development region. I believe that's Invest98L right here, and check out what's out ahead of it. There's absolutely no wind shear out there, so that's not really going to be a limiting factor here, but you'll start to see this intensify Of course, when it becomes a system here, it'll create some of its own wind shear on the northern side here. But you see that as it continues to move up to the northwest, and you do see here, not a whole lot of wind shear until it gets to this point. Now, looks like there's going to be a trough that may try to move in here. You got a low pressure system just to the northwest of Newfoundland of Canada. And this will be good news if this verifies, because if we're going to have a trough here, that's going to veer this thing here off to sea here, away from the United States. So that would be considered as a fish storm. But some models kind of have a delaying on that as well. And then you can see here, you got this big trough that moves in here, and that's going to make that thing turn to the north. We also notice, look at the pressure on that. That's 966 millibars. That'd be a major hurricane out of the GFS. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. Meanwhile, just behind that, there's another tropical wave that comes off of Africa there as well. We're getting pretty far out, so this can change here. This is almost a 10-day period. But do see there how it continues to move up to the northeast as well. So that's definitely going to be very interesting there. And then if we check out the precipitable water here, and there might be some dry air that may try to interfere Invest98L when it gets closer to the Lesser Antilles here, but it's not a whole lot. If they can stay very organized, I don't think any of that dry air it's going to get into its circulation there, if it's going to stay a pretty strong system there. And it's definitely not a good sign at all there. Let's pull out the European model here real quick. See what the European model shows. I believe the European model has a little bit of a severed track here. But, so here's Invest98L right here. And this is sustained winds, by the way. And at this point here, it's considered as a tropical storm with sustained winds of 55 miles per hour. So a tropical storm by Saturday, and it just continues to strengthen here. It's also a very small circulation. That's not a good sign. If you got a very small circulation, these systems can intensify fairly quickly as well. That won't be good news at all. And this is a hurricane already by Sunday, indicated by the European model. And it continues to be as a hurricane. It still intensifies as it moves to the northwest here. And here's Tuesday. Here's going to Wednesday. Still a hurricane. And then it starts to shift a little bit further to the south here. Here's 5 o'clock in the morning. It starts to affect some of the northern Lesser Antilles here, getting closer to Puerto Rico as well. Now, this may be due to maybe a little bit of a stronger Bermuda high, but if you compare it to the GFS, it shows a little bit of a weaker Bermuda high, but also the placement's a little bit different here between these two models here. The European model is a Bermuda high further to the south here. Meanwhile, the GFS model is further to the northeast. So that's definitely going to be a big uncertainty there, and that's going to be one of the big driving factors here for the track of the system here. But right now, it seems like most of the models are trending kind of towards the GFS, but kind of in between at the same time here. If we go back to the European model, this will probably be your worst case scenario here, and then it just passes Puerto Rico to the north. Still is a hurricane, at least a Category 1 hurricane as one. But check out these wind gusts, though, out of the storm here. Wind gusts of 134 miles per hour. That'd probably be a Category 2 hurricane at that point. But we definitely need to watch what's going on here in the United States, because if we could get another well-timed trough here, this could stay away from the United States here. So there's still a lot of uncertainties with Invest98L, and it seems like it's very likely that we're going to have a hurricane with Invest98L. If we check out what the current sea surface temperatures are there right now, ocean analysis, and we'll go to sea surface temperatures, and here's the tropical Atlantic here. And you do see here, the waters are pretty warm, especially when you get closer to the Lesser Antilles. I think that's when it really starts to take off with intensity. But if it's going to stay as a small circulation here, that's definitely not good news at all. Typically, with tropical systems with a smaller circulation, it can intensify much quicker than a broad circulation. Usually, it's a little bit tougher for a broader circulation to intensify here. But if we're going to see a smaller circulation, like the European model, I mean, The GFS is a little bit wider, but the European model is much smaller. If we trend towards a European model, we could be talking about a major system here. So this is definitely a system we need to watch here over the next several days here. And it doesn't look like there's going to be much of any limiting factors, unfortunately. Here's the ocean heat content here. If it continues to trend further to the south, it'll be going to an area where we have some of the highest ocean heat content in the Atlantic. But if it does continue to kind of attract something like this towards the Bahamas, there's some high ocean heat content at the Bahamas. So this is definitely not good news at all. But the GF, we're gonna have to see if models trend a little bit more towards the GFS model. If we see the models trend towards the European model, we'll be talking about a major issue here for Invest98L. But really, even people in the United States here probably needs to watch this system as well, because a lot of things can change from now till then, since it's still about 10 days out. Even if it gets close to the United States here, it'll probably be past the 10-day period if it does continue to move to the northwest. But right now, probably people in the Lesser Antilles, probably Dominican Republic and Haiti, the Bahamas, and possibly the East Coast as well, need to watch the system there as well. Before we end this video here, I want to quickly mention what's going on up in the Ohio Valley here. If we check out the National Weather Service Watch Warning Advisory display, and you do see here, there is a lot of stuff going on in the Ohio Valley region. Looks like there is a severe thunderstorm warning out in northeastern Ohio right now. But we do have flash flood watches across parts of northwestern Ohio, northeastern Michigan, and southeast Michigan and northeastern Indiana. Then we got another area of flash flood watches anywhere from central and eastern Pennsylvania all the way down for parts of central and western Maryland, far northeastern West Virginia, and down into parts of western Virginia as well, into a couple counties in North Carolina as well. So flooding will be an issue, but that actually won't be the only issue. We actually got lake wind advisories across the National Weather Service of Paducah area. So if you guys are going to be out on the lake, especially across parts of Indiana, Kentucky, and Illinois, be aware there will be some strong winds out there as well. And there's also that risk for severe weather. We already had severe thunderstorms across parts of eastern Kentucky, which has already done some damage earlier this morning. That severe weather risk has now shifted further to the northeast, where we do have a slight risk across parts of eastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, and northern West Virginia as well. The main threat will be damaging winds, and also there could be a few tornadoes as well. There's a lot of wind shear. There's a good amount of instability out there, so we could definitely see possibly a couple tornadoes up there as well. So anybody that lives in eastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, and over in West Virginia, please be weather aware later today. It includes places like Youngstown, Ohio, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and also Cleveland, Ohio as well. Actually, I don't think it might, but anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you do like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, leave it in the comment section down below. Alright, you guys questions, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.